If my chair is making noises, I am so sorry. But hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Teresa. We've gathered here today with my almost empty watered down coffee to discuss moving out. Do you like this setup? Because I think I like this setup a lot better than the couch. Let me know what you think. We've gathered here today to discuss the topic of moving out for the first time. I've taken some notes. I've written a script. Let me show you. If I put in as much effort into uni as I did into this script, I'd be top of my class. But I don't, and that's a me problem that I'm working on, okay? If you're watching this video for the very first time, hi, I'm Teresa. You'll get to know me in a second because I'm gonna tell you what qualifies me to give you advice on moving out. But if you like it here, please subscribe, check out my socials, everything's linked down below. You know why you're here, I know why I'm here, so let's just get right into it. I did a little brainstorm, and I have gathered 12 tips for people who move out for the first time, specifically people who move out from their parents' home to go to uni. So if you're moving out for the first time to go to uni, this is your video. First of all, who am I? I am Teresa. As I said, I am a second semester journalism and PR major in a small town in Germany. I'm German, yes. Surprise. I actually changed my major after a year, so this is my second major. So I have 2 years of university education under my belt. So I've been here for 2 years. Again, I'm going to uni in a German small town, so this advice might not apply to like larger cities outside of Germany. It might, I don't know, I don't have any experience in that department, so take it with a grain of salt. I think it's still smart to hear, but like, just so you know the setting. I moved into a city where I didn't know anyone. I didn't move too far from my hometown, just 2.5 hours by train, or like 3 most of the time. But I moved to a city where I knew no one, which is kind of crucial to know from some of the advice I'm gonna give you. Also, I am an introvert. I do call myself an introvert with extroverted tendencies, but at my core, I love being alone and I love being an introvert. That being said, what qualifies me to give you advice? First of all, I've moved 4 times in the past 2 years. I've moved out of my parents' house. I moved to a flat that I share with 2 different girls for half a year. Moved back into my parents' house, lived with them for half a year. Moved into another flat with 1 roommate, moved out after half a year, and now I've found my dream apartment, which I'm currently in right now. I moved in here in April. This is not my dream apartment because my dream apartment would be a penthouse in New York, but this is my dream apartment for the limits that I am given right now. So I'm currently living alone, and I'm gonna live alone for the rest of my uni experience, but I have lived in 2 different shared flats, which also gives me some experience in that department. My last apartment that I just moved out of was disgusting. I had an okay roommate, but the flat in and of itself was awful. So I've lived in good flats and bad flats. I am a type B girl. If you don't know what a type B girl is, it's a TikTok thing. I am very chaotic, very disorganized at times. I went through my different apps trying to find out how many apartments I applied to. Apartments that I could find, I applied to 32 shared flats and 14 one-bedroom apartments. That's not all of them, but I have done some applying. I know my way around that by now. Just some extra info. Dorms are not really a thing here. So if you're moving into a dorm, this advice is probably unnecessary for you. I'm talking about shared flats and apartments off campus, not connected to universities whatsoever. First things first, start looking early. The first time I was looking for an apartment, I had about 2 to 3 weeks to look for an apartment, which was awful. So little time. Hell, I'm never doing that again. I could barely find a place, and I only got an apartment that was rented to me for half a year, was a sublet. Don't be like me. Start looking early. My ideal timeline, now that I've figured it all out, is to start looking for apartment at least 2 months ahead, because that gives you time to, 1, actually view the place. That didn't happen for me first time around. And 2, find out what you're looking for in an apartment. You only realize what you really need if you see it. Again, I didn't view apartments the first time I moved, and I got lucky. Number 2, don't take the first place that you can get your hands onto. I'm gonna give you real life examples of my apartment search. Beginning of this year, I decided that I wanted to move in alone, so I started looking for apartments. Looked at one mid-January on a Saturday. The woman that was renting it out wanted an answer by Monday, and the move-in date was April 2025. So looking at it, I get why she wanted an answer so quickly, just because you want to be done with it. But that's like crazy little time. You don't know what's out there. You don't know if your dream apartment is out there, and most likely you're gonna make compromises. That was the first apartment that I viewed, and she accepted me and she immediately wanted an answer, and I was so wanting to take it just to have a place. But then I talked to my parents and we're like, you don't know what's out there, so don't take the first thing that you can get your hands onto unless you're 100% sure it's your dream apartment. My third tip is specifically for people who move to a new city where they don't know anyone for the first semester of uni. Move in with people. Get a roommate, at least for your first semester. Making friends is so much easier when you're with someone. It's so easy. No, it's not easy, but it's so much easier to meet people when you're not on your own. If you move in alone immediately, I feel like there's a high risk of like ending up lonely, especially in bigger cities. I know in Germany, in Berlin, that's like a huge issue. Pro tip, move in with someone who's already been living in this city, who's already going to uni, maybe it's a third, fourth semester, who actually already has friends there, who has connections, because then you can just like swoop in. That's perfect if you actually like your roommate, which obviously would be ideal, because if you like your roommate, you're probably gonna like their friend. Get a roommate. Even if you're a person that desperately wants to live alone. That was me. Look at me now, I live alone, I love it here. While we're on the topic of roommates, take time to actually get to know your roommates. I've had 3 roommates in total, 2 in one apartment, one in the other one. And while I like all the people that I lived with, we don't keep in contact. We didn't like each other enough to actually keep in contact after I moved out. Ideally, you're gonna live with people that you actually enjoy spending time with. So try to get to know them properly, and one Zoom call isn't gonna do that. A little side note on that whole thing. Moving out is always an option. It seems like a long time, but half a year flies by. Tip number 5, don't fear rejection. As I said before, I applied to so many apartments, roughly 60, 70 over the past 2 years. Applying to apartments in my case was texting people on like different platforms, which I think that's how it works most of the time. I applied to about 60, 70 apartments and shared flats overall. I maybe got 30 answers, and I'm being generous. I maybe got 10 viewings, roughly, and I got accepted into like 5 apartments and shared flat. Maybe I'm just a shitty person, but I like to think that I'm not. Sometimes it's just not right, and don't give up. The first time I got rejected from an apartment, I was crushed. Like, I was so sad, and looking back, the apartment and the room was shit. The location was bad. The room was small. There was no living room. It was just overall not great, but I was so locked in my head, and I thought I'd get the first place that I viewed, and I didn't, and it crushed me. So take it from someone who has taken a lot of rejection. Also, it takes time to find a home. Finding your home is a process. Don't forget that. When it comes to actually viewing places, I just collected a few tips in one. Take photos, only view in broad daylight, sleep on it, and talk to your parents. I'm gonna elaborate. Taking photos is so important. I didn't do that for the last place. If you watched my moving prep vlog like a few months ago, I gave you a room tour with all the disgusting details of my old apartment, and I'm also gonna insert some pictures. It's so bad. I didn't take any photos when I viewed it for the first time, so I wasn't aware. I also didn't view that place in broad daylight, so I moved into a shithole, and I wasn't aware because I didn't take pictures. So take photos, and if they don't allow you to take photos, that is the first red flag. If you have the option to sleep on it, sleep on it. It is a red flag in my eyes if they want you to lock in immediately, because some things you gotta let them set for a second. Talk to your parents. I know some people are gonna be like, why didn't I talk to my parents? I'm moving out. They know what's going on. They are not new to the market. They know what you have to look for. You don't. This is the first time you're moving out. You probably don't know what you're looking for. But I'm gonna give you some things that I didn't look for in the past that I full on regretted. So here's a list of some things that you should and can look for when viewing an apartment. Corners on the ceiling, on the floor. If they're wet, moldy, something's wrong. Bathroom, everything in the bathroom. Ceiling, the bathtub, the shower. Look at everything. Take pictures of everything. If you have a wooden ceiling in the bathroom. Last thing, the smell. If you walk into a new place that you've never smelled before and it smells musty, everyone can clean, everyone can cover up shit, but the smell is gonna stay. Tip number 7 is kind of obvious, but I still wanted to say it. View the apartment in person if possible. I know it's not always possible, but people can hide stuff if they control their perspective, stuff like that. Try to view things in person. When you move into your first place, get it furnished or at least partly furnished. This is especially important if you follow my tip number 3, which is move in with people first and then move out. Moving with less stuff after 1 or 2 semesters is gonna make life so much easier for you. You're also gonna save a bunch of money. The first semester tends to be the most expensive one for the student because you're out a lot socially, trying to get to know people. You're gonna have to make compromises. The way you lived at home is most likely a luxury way of living, and you're gonna have to get used to downsizing unless you have like a huge budget, which personally I don't. Like, I get financial support from my parents, which I'm eternally grateful for because I don't know what I'd do if I didn't. But you're probably coming from a luxury living state. Some things that you might have to say goodbye to. A dishwasher. I miss my dishwasher every day. In-unit washer or dryer, a big closet, a bathtub, and a microwave. And even in my case, an oven. I don't have an oven as of right now. I'm gonna get an air fryer. I survive without an oven. It is not ideal, but it's fine. Number 10 is also kind of obvious, but moving is so expensive. I spent about 1,000 euros on my most recent move. And again, I get financial support from my parents. It was also my birthday around the time that I moved, so a lot of the things that I needed for the apartment, not a lot, but a few of them I got for my birthday. But me alone, I spent 1,000 euros on that move, and that is not including like a security deposit and stuff like that. I also didn't fully furnish this place. I already owned a lot of the things that are standing in here right now. For example, the desk you're standing on, this shelf, the record player, stuff like that. I didn't have to buy everything, but it's still like, I was crying when I looked at my credit card. Some things that first-time movers might not think about. Security deposits for the apartment. Transfer fees. I don't know if that's the exact term, but if you move into a place where a person has lived before you, for example, for me, I paid a certain amount of money so that I could get the bed frame of the person that was living here before me, and a dresser and a shelf and the kitchen, stuff like that you just probably have to pay for, so just keep that in mind. Another side note, if you're looking for like rent mathematics and stuff, this is also not the video for that because I'm lucky enough that I don't pay my own rent. #spoiled brat. When you consider living alone, just know that except from rent, there's a few living expenses that you're gonna have. You're gonna have to pay for all of these things on your own. If you live in a shared flat, you have this most likely the same amount of money but split. So if that is like something that really like financially is a burden on you, you should probably consider that. Things that cost money that I know existed, obviously, because I'm not 3 years old, but when I decided I wanted to live alone, I just didn't really think about it. This is me reminding you, that Wi-Fi costs money, utilities cost money, insurance costs money, gas and water is included into the rent for me, and for Wi-Fi and utilities I pay 20 euros per month for utilities and 12 euros per month for my Wi-Fi, because I share it with my next door neighbor, because this is like, it looks like a dorm house, but it's not. Apartments are so close to each other that I can share a Wi-Fi with my neighbor, so it's less expensive. Yay! Last but definitely not least, IKEA and secondhand places are gonna be your best friends. I know in the US Facebook Marketplace is like a huge thing. I personally go on eBay a lot when I'm looking for stuff. If you wanna invest in like pieces that you know you're gonna love for a really long time, go ahead, by all means, happy for you, but I am not as secure in my taste yet that I am willing to, I don't know, drop like 1,000 euros on a desk or something, you know what I mean? That's it for me for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any further questions, let me know in the comments down below and I'd be happy to give you my advice. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching until the very end. If you're still watching, comment the house emoji down below, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye.